Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from Cupcake Muse from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, and it says, am I the arsehole for refusing to let my in-laws stay with us? I, 30 female, am married to my husband, Alex, 32 male, and we have a fairly small, cozy house that we're really proud of. We put a lot of effort into making it our own, and while it's not huge or fancy, it's comfortable and suits our needs. My husband and I both work from home, and we've tried to create a peaceful space that reflects our values and priorities. However, my in-laws, Alex's parents, have been constantly critical of everything. Whenever they visit, they complain about how small the house is, how we don't have enough space for entertaining, how our furniture isn't to their taste, and how we don't have a proper guest room. I've tried to take it in stride, but it's really starting to get to me. They've made comments like, you could really use a bigger house to start a family, or how do you manage without a second bathroom? As if we should be apologizing for our choices. Recently, Alex and I decided to take a vacation, and my in-laws asked if they could stay at our place while we were gone. I was hesitant because of how they've treated our home in the past, but I didn't want to cause any conflict. I told Alex that I wasn't comfortable with them staying over, especially since they've been so vocal about how much they dislike it here. Alex insisted that it was the polite thing to do, but I drew a line and said, I don't want them here if they're just going to trash talk our home behind our backs. I also reminded him how they have constantly undermined our lifestyle choices, and that having them stay here would only make me feel uncomfortable and stressed out. He got upset and said I was being petty, and that I should just let it go since it's only for a few days. Now Alex is upset with me for refusing to host them, and I'm feeling torn. I don't want to create tension in my marriage, but I also don't want to constantly be made to feel like our choices and space aren't good enough. He thinks I'm overreacting, but I just want to feel like I'm inviting criticism into my own home. Am I the arsehole for refusing to let my in-laws stay with us, or am I being unreasonable? I really don't think it's petty at all, to be honest, because it's not just about them staying for a few days, it's about the pattern of behavior that they've already shown you, that every time they're in your home they're criticizing it, putting it down, making you feel like shit about it because it's not good enough or whatever. Why would you want to give them more access to it? The cheeky bastards. Maybe I'm just getting grumpy as I'm getting older, or I've read loads of these stories and just getting fed up with the behavior of some people, but I'm just like these days, if someone treats you like shit, someone's awful to you all the time, why do you want these people in your lives? Why do you want to be around them all the time? I'm not saying OP should completely cut them out or anything like that, but I certainly wouldn't be inviting them into my house to stay when they've talked shit about it the whole time. But there is also the issue of Alex not backing her up on this, because it's her home too, and she shouldn't feel uncomfortable or judged in her own space. A commenter says to OP, not the arsehole, and I don't even understand why they would want to stay in your home while you're gone. Like, they don't have their own house. A commenter replies saying they want to decorate the house to their own style, sell the house without them there. I can only think about bad things. There is no reason for them to stay there that is a positive one. Commenter says, I would suspect we redecorated your house because we care plan to go into effect. Another commenter says, it's weird that they would want to stay in your house when you're not there. Even more weird given their dislike for the house. Not the arsehole. Commenter says, a lot of people here are asking the super obvious question. Why do they want to stay at your place? An embarrassing emergency, like the bank is foreclosing on their house. They have fleas or bed bugs and it needs fumigating. Why haven't you asked them? Why is your husband so nonchalant about it that he doesn't think it's weird? There's a big piece missing from the picture that makes it so hard to judge. Ooh. Maybe they are going to redecorate, but the next day, OP came in and said, first of all, I want to thank everyone for their support and advice. I was feeling really conflicted about the whole situation, and reading through the comments gave me a lot of perspective. A special thank you to those who pointed out the possibility that my in-laws might have been planning to redecorate while we were away. I honestly hadn't even considered that, but when I heard them talk about helping us make our home more presentable and maybe redecorating, it became clear that some of the things people mentioned were spot on. You definitely helped me realize I wasn't overreacting when I thought they were treating our home like a project instead of a place that we put our hearts into. After some more honest conversations with Alex, he came to understand where I was coming from. He agreed that it wouldn't be fair to let his parents stay in our home when they'd been so vocal about their criticism. He acknowledged how it made me feel uncomfortable and stressed, and he apologized for initially brushing off my concerns. We both agreed that it was best to set boundaries and prioritize our peace. So I did have the conversation with my in-laws, and while they weren't thrilled about it, I tried to explain my point of view calmly. I told him that it wasn't about rejecting them personally, but about how their constant criticism of our space made me feel unwelcome in my own home. To my surprise, Alex backed me up during the conversation, which meant a lot. However, things took an interesting turn when my in-laws got really upset about our decision. They didn't hold back in expressing their disappointment, with his mum saying, "If you're so sensitive about your tiny house, maybe you should reconsider hosting anyone ever again." His dad mentioned they were just trying to help us make our home more presentable, and would even redecorate while we were away. This part took me aback. Apparently they planned on rearranging furniture, buying new pieces, and possibly even repainting while we're on vacation. It honestly felt like they saw our home as a project rather than a place that we've intentionally created for ourselves. Alex didn't know about the redecoration plans either, which only added to the tension. We ended up standing firm on our decision, and while it was awkward, I feel like it was the right choice. The parents have been quieter since, but I can tell there's some lingering resentment. Alex and I have agreed to keep things clear with them moving forward. While we're happy to host them, but make sure they respect our space and our choices. I still feel a bit uneasy about the situation, but I'm proud that we handled it together. I'm also realizing that this might be an ongoing issue, but we're in a stronger place as a couple now. Thanks again for all the advice. It helped a lot in sorting through my feelings. I'm not gonna lie, I thought Alex was in on it at first because the way he was pushing so hard for them to stay, brushing off her concerns and acting like it was no big deal, it all just felt a bit off. And it's Reddit, you're never that surprised. Like, why are you so keen for them to have access to the house when you're not even there? But I always like to try and jump into the minds of people in this situation, and what are the parents even thinking here? Like, in what world do you go, yeah, they don't like our comments about their house, so let's ask to stay there while they're away and secretly redecorate it? That's just such a wild ass leap. Like, just totally disregarding their tastes, their effort that they're putting in their own place, and just putting your own vision on their home. It's crazy. And I kind of think that's not the end of it, because what other things are going to try and control in the future? Imagine if they choose to have a baby, what that will entail. Holy moly, bloody hell. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from a throwaway account. I'm just going to give you a trigger warning if you're eating or something. There's something potentially disgusting coming up. You'll get it from the title. I'm just hoping it's not shit. But it's titled, "I-25 female just found something really disgusting this morning that my boyfriend 26 male left in the living room. Brace yourselves. I've been with my boyfriend for 2 years and we've been living together for the past few months. Now generally I've come to accept him for being a guy and not cleaning up after himself. He's got a lot better at it though, so I'll give him that. Anyway, this morning I went downstairs as usual to clean up a bit, and when I went to pick up the remote off the floor, I noticed a white McDonald's cup sitting next to the chair. Thinking it was just a leftover drink, I went to go dump it in the sink, only to realize there was piss in the cup. Oh no. I'm not sure how long it was sitting behind the chair, but it smelled really bad. It was pretty much full with ashes at the bottom of it. He smokes. I don't really know how to go about talking to him about this or how to even bring it up. Advice, anyone?" The commenter says, quoting, "Not sure how to ask him about it. Don't ask. Tell, boyfriend, I was cleaning up the other day and I found a cup behind the chair and it smelled like 3-week-old piss and had a cigarette ashes in it. It smelled really bad and I'm really grossed out. You don't need to know if it's piss or how long it's been there, or whether he'll clean up next time, or why he didn't clean up this time. You need him to know how finding something so nasty affected you." OP says, "Instead of calling him on the phone and yelling in his fucking ear about it, which I really wanted to do when I first found it, I wanted to think about what I was going to say before I let him know I found their cup. Thanks for giving some idea on what to say." Commenter says, "Now generally I come to accept him for being a guy and not cleaning up after himself," and then says, "He's not a guy, he's a fucking slob." Diego says, "Slob is right. I once found a pile of snipped off toenails on our coffee table once, and I thought that was disgusting. I don't know what I'd do if I found out what OP discovered. And no smoking in the house either. Bleh. Commoner says, you say there was ashes in it. Cigarettes will leave a clear liquid yellow, and it would definitely smell bad. Are you sure that he urinated in it and it wasn't just his ashtray? Either way it's gross, but that would make a lot more sense. Opie says, oh yeah, it was legit piss, believe me. I couldn't smell it at first because there was a lid on the cup, but after I poured it in the kitchen sink, I knew that I had made a terrible mistake. Crow says, was he getting drunk last night? Not that it's an excuse, but it would give a reason for this. Opie says no, he doesn't drink. There shouldn't be any excuse for him to piss in a cup when our bathroom is 30 feet away. I'm just in shock that anyone, especially the person I'm living with, would do this. Edit. First of all, thank you to everyone who left helpful comments on what to do in this situation. I'll be speaking to him about this in the morning. I will definitely post an update first thing. Thanks again, I really appreciate it. So OP did update the post and says, first I just want to say thank you for all the helpful responses that I received yesterday. I've never in my life had to deal with a situation like this. I also hope it is the last time as well. As soon as he got home from work this morning, I told him that we needed to have a serious conversation. We both sat down and I told him that I found the cup he'd been pissing in behind the chair, that it was the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen, and I was repulsed that he would actually do something like that when we have a perfectly working bathroom upstairs. He started to actually defend himself as to why he was using it. I tried to stay calm, but I couldn't anymore, and eventually it turned into a heated argument. He stated that the cup was easier to use than going upstairs to use our bathroom, which is seriously 30 feet away. And usually, he dumps it in the kitchen sink when he's finished. What the fuck? That right there was a deal breaker for me. This had been going on for quite some time. Upon further inspection, where I originally found the cup, I could clearly see urine stains on the floor. Oh no. How I didn't know about this sooner, I don't know. But I'm really glad that I do now. I can't continue to live with a sick fuck any longer. I'll be moving my things out today and be staying with a friend for the time being. A commenter just says on the back of this, the moral of the story, being toilet trained is essential if you want to appeal to potential sexual partners. Some arsehole replies saying, that is actually the only takeaway here. Another commenter just said, way to piss away the whole relationship. But it was kind of all the in-between stuff for me as well that I was thinking about. Like, does he always use the same paper McDonald's cup to do this? The fact that, just imagine him, and he says he throws it away every morning. Every morning this guy's walking with a cup filled with piss to put down the sink. Like, don't you look in the mirror and just think, what am I doing? What am I doing? Absolutely so wild. But what do you guys think of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's have another story. This one comes from the advice subreddit from AfterMail4652 and says, I left my marriage for 8 months, had the time of my life, and then went back. Biggest mistake ever. I'm 30 female, husband is 34 male. We dated for 3 years before getting married. His parents lived with us from the beginning. Last year, I hit a wall. The entire household runs on me. Cooking, cleaning, managing everything for everyone, including 2 fully grown adults who are perfectly capable of doing things themselves. It was exhausting with a mother-in-law who's dominating and controlling. I just left one day, packed my stuff and walked out. Yes, there was a dramatic fight. I was just done. And those 8 months were honestly the best months of my entire adult life. I slept properly for the first time in years. I traveled, small trips, but they were completely mine. I cooked for myself, watched every show I'd been putting off, met new people who just knew me as me. No in-laws, no household to manage, no one needing things from me constantly. I was myself again, lighter, happier, and more relaxed. I remember thinking, wow, I actually really like this person. When did I stop being her? And then he came back. Calls every day, long messages, showing up, saying everything I had spent years wanting to hear. I miss you, I've changed, it'd be so different this time, please just come back. And I went back, because I'm human and because years of love doesn't just switch off even when part of you wishes it would. Within weeks, it was like those 8 months never happened. Same house, same in-laws, Same cooking and cleaning and managing everything for everyone while nobody notices or says thank you. Same husband who says nothing when his mum oversteps. I'm not a wife here, I'm just the unpaid help. The worst part is I think I already knew. I knew deep down that nothing had actually changed. I went back anyway because I wanted so badly to believe it would be different this time. I'm 30, no kids, 1 year into this marriage. I know what the obvious answer probably is, but I want to hear from people who have actually been through something like this. Did anyone go back and have it actually work out? And if you left for good, how did you find the courage to do it when everyone around you acts like you should be just grateful you have a marriage to come back to? Be honest with me, please. I can handle it. Should I stick around here or move out again? My husband refuses to move out with me. He says he wants to live with his parents always. All I can do on this one is go back to the paragraph where OP said those 8 months were honestly the best months of my life and ended with, I actually really like this person. When did I stop being her? And that basically said it all for me. And I think OP already knows the answer, just needs some reassurance to make that choice because you know what your life is like out of this. You already have the answer right there. Twitcher commenter says similar. You already know the answer. Move on and be happy. He's not willing to change for you. OP replied saying, I know. I really do know. I just needed to say it all out loud somewhere before I could fully accept it. It's just really different knowing something in your head versus actually being ready to do something about it. My head has known for months. My heart is still catching up. It took me a lot of courage to leave the last time, and of course I was shattered because of what happened. But at least I was able to breathe then. I feel caged now. A commenter asks OP, and you live just fine financially on your own. Fantastic. Live your best life. OP says I am financially independent. Just so you all know, there had been pressure on me from my in-laws, especially my mother-in-law, to quit working and focus on taking care of home and planning a baby. I was adamant on not quitting, and this was also one of the major reasons of fights at home before I left. I was able to survive those months only because I had my job. A commenter replies saying never. They want to cut you off from the only resource you have to leave. Get out of there, girl. We're all rooting for you. OP replied saying, I'm sitting here genuinely emotional reading this because nobody in my actual life is rooting for me right now. Everyone around me just wants me to settle down and be grateful and make the toxic marriage work, including my husband. Thank you for being so kind. And there's loads of people just telling OP to get out of that situation, to absolutely run. But you can understand why OP is, questioning herself, because as we see in many of these stories, when we don't know what support she got around her, and if her air quote support is telling her stay in this relationship, you got to make this marriage work, you end up questioning yourself. So you can understand why OP's like this. But really, I hope in the update, because she knows the answer here. The OP did come in with update. Started with a link to the previous post and says, want to start with thank you with my whole heart to everyone who supported me yesterday. Thousands of kind strangers telling me I deserve better, to choose myself, to get out before it was too late. I read every single comment and cried through most of them. This was a life-changing post for me. Update, I showed my husband the post and all your comments. He read everything. We talked all night. Now I don't know what to think. Need advice again. I handed him my phone and watched his face as he read. The posts, the comments, all of it. He was quiet for a really long time, and then he looked at me and said, I had no idea it'd gotten this bad. We talked all night. Properly talked. The kind of talking we hadn't done in years. He apologized for never checking on me during those 8 months, said he was too angry and too hurt and he let that stop him from asking if I was okay. He said he should have spoken up for me more against his family. That he watched things happen and stayed quiet when he should have said something. He admitted that, and then he made some promises. On the baby front, he said he finally understands why I've been so resistant. He said, take as much time as you need. Let's revisit it in 2 years when things feel more stable. If anyone in the family pressures me before, then he'll handle it. No more pressure, no more comments, no more pointed questions at family gatherings. He said when and if we have a baby, it'll be when I'm genuinely ready, not a day before. On the work front, he said nobody will ever make me quit my job, and if anyone tries, he'll shut it down. But then in the same breath, he said that when it comes to choosing between work and family, I'll need to choose his family. His example was if his mum isn't feeling well, I'd need to stay home and take care of her. Not go to work. Family first in those situations. And on the living situation, he was honest, more honest than I expected. He said he will never move out from his parents. They're everything to him, and that is never going to change. But he said he'll make the environment at home better, easier, less suffocating. He acknowledged that the cooking in the household falls on me and said he had tried to make it more manageable, but also said his mum is aging and that the men in his family don't cook, so the cooking will still be mine to handle. And now I don't know what to feel. Part of me is really moved that he read everything, that he sat with it, that he apologized and didn't get defensive. I know that's not nothing, but another part of me is sitting here quietly going through each promise and feeling something complicated. The baby thing feels genuine, but 2 years is still a timeline someone else is setting for my body. The work thing sounds supportive until you get to the part where his mum's health will always outrank my job. What happens when that becomes a regular thing? What happens when every other week there's a reason I need to stay home? And the living situation? He said it so simply. My parents are everything to me and I will never leave them. And I believe him. I really do. But what does that mean for me? What does that mean for us? Cooking before work and after work every single day for a household that will never shrink. He said he'll make it a better environment. But what does that actually look like? Better how? Easier how? The same house, the same people, just with a slightly softer atmosphere. I just want you all to help me see this clearly. Thanks a million times again. Edit. I know he's going to involve his mum in this today and tell her what I'm up to, but I know what I have to do now. I don't want this life. I left last time abruptly in anger, hurt, and to come back. This time a stronger woman will be sitting in front of them, talking calmly and making very clear she does not want to be a part of this family anymore and wants to move on. I'm so grateful I had this conversation with him yesterday. Never felt so firm before this. Look, this conversation didn't actually fix anything, it just confirmed everything, because on the surface he's apologizing, he's listening, he didn't get defensive, but when you actually break down what he's saying, nothing fundamental has changed. He's not leaving his parents, the household is still her responsibility, his family still comes first. The environment might be, air quotes, better, but it's still the same environment. And I think OP can still see it. She's breaking it down herself, that this isn't a new life, it's just a slightly softer version of the same one that she already left. And it'll probably go back to the way it was anyway. And I'm really hoping that Edit is the end of that relationship for OP, because it went from OP being confused and questioning things to, I do not want this life. And that's a completely different place to be mentally. And I really, really hoping, praying that she sticks to that. He's told you what your life will be if you stay with him. Do not stay with that shit when you've just had the best 8 months of your life. You know what life outside of that looks like. Take it. A commenter says to OP, he is literally telling you nothing will change and you're not his first priority. Just because he read it doesn't mean anything. OP says it took away a lot of confusion for me and happy you all think so too. He didn't sugarcoat things and in a way that's helped me see the situation more realistically instead of emotionally. A commenter says, sweetie, he wants a cook, maid and nurse for his parents, and that's a non-negotiable for him. He's not even considering hiring a cleaning or maid service even when you are struggling. Some women are satisfied with that. If that's not what you want, it's time to leave. None of that will change and it will get worse as his parents age and childcare rears its ugly head. It's going to be more and more work. OP replied to him regarding the maid service. I did try to talk to my mother-in-law about this in the initial few months of marriage. She said we do not need it. We're only 4 people at home and we can all manage it. Maid service will be expensive for us. I told that to my husband and he said whatever mum says goes. I was literally out of words that day. This was the first red flag I saw after marriage. OK Initiative says, girl, get out. Said with love, it's all promises and manipulation, but you see through that. You are strong enough to leave once, choose yourself and life can be as incredible as you let it. OP replies saying, now I'm feeling glad I had that conversation with him, as hard as it was. It actually made things a lot clearer for me. When I got married, I really did believe it would be for life. I think most of us got into it hoping we'd make it work no matter what, and I didn't want to walk away wondering if I gave up too soon or didn't try enough. But hearing him say everything so clearly, what he can change and what he won't, it kind of removed the confusion for me. In a strange way, it's helped me feel more firm about the decision I'm leaning towards. And I think after that point is when OP came in with that edit, hopefully confirming that this is going to be the end of the line for that relationship, because holy moly. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.